Hey everybody, welcome back to 3 Day Weekend. You got Chris here again today, and sorry for my voice in advance. You know, I'm in my late 30s now, going through puberty, that whole body changing stuff, so super fun. I'm with the Pro XP, old Provolone, and we're looking at some theft deterrent devices today. And then one step further, if it does get stolen, how can we recover the machine? Because people are arguing, it's got full coverage, you can just go get a new one, but the issue is you can't always just go get a new one, especially with the backlog of these right now. Especially, you could be months on a waiting list unless you find one, you're lucky and everything. And they aren't even coming with ride command right now due to the chip shortage and all that good stuff. So it's not always feasible just go out and get another one. But I digress. This is what we're looking at today. I've got this RZR tracking GPS systems right from razortracker.com. We got decoy devices, we've got relays, we have a security system up there. I'm just going to kind of go through everything, see what we have, so that you can make the best decision on protecting one of your machines. So, pointing out the obvious, it would not be a 3-day weekend video if this machine were clean. So we're doing it dirty again today. The four devices we have, this and this go together. You can use the relay with this to disable your starter, your ignition, or your fuel pump, whatever you so desire. I'm going to set that aside. That's an optional accessory that you can get. This is completely independent. It's a decoy GPS unit. It looks legit. I wonder if at one time it may have been legitimate and it's just not anymore. It looks like it might have some lights on it, so we'll see what that looks like all hooked up. Pretty cool. We've got the security system, the 9100 Gorilla Compact UTV system. Looks like all the brains and everything are right in the siren. This is the version that has a two-way pager into it, which would be cool if you're within a half a mile or so. It should sound on your key if someone's tampering with your RZR. So we'll go over that at the end. And the last but most important thing, the thing we're going to go over first, is the meat and potatoes of the entire operation, the GT1400. This is a GPS device that you can install in your machine, and it will keep track of where your RZR is and where it's been. And there's a Android and iOS app for it. I don't have iOS, I have Android. I'll show you that here in a bit. Also has a web portal. So you plug that in and off you go. Before we get started, it's got 4 wires on it. You've got red and black, that's your power, positive and negative. You got white, that goes to your ignition. And then you have the green, and your green is a negative 5-volt trigger, which will go to the green wire on your accessory or optional relay. You can add them right through the website there. And if there is power coming off of this wire, it will open the relay so that whatever you have it hooked in series with will cease to function. I haven't made up my mind fully yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be fuel pump. It'd be cool to be able to go through the web app and just select a little button and disable the fuel pump if it's on the move. General installation notes. This one we're going to install, this is the decoy, and we're going to install it kinda hidden. Not super hidden, but you got to look for it so it's not too obvious. They recommend on the website, maybe under your seat, direct to your battery. All my power connections are up in the center here, so I'm thinking it's going to go right up top somewhere, maybe stuck to a piece of frame. Somewhere where if you open that up, you might see it. I might even position it in such a way that you can see the lights if they work. I'll hook it up here in a little bit and see if the lights blink at all. So it'll attract their attention. And then you would think, oh cool, I've got the GPS unit out of it. But you don't. Because further in the machine, somewhere, there will be this guy. And we could put it under the hood, you know, under this panel, because that comes off. You could put it in the back. You could put it behind the seat, behind the firewall here. You could tuck it up into a fender maybe. You could hide it up top, down below, center console, because those are a pain to get out. You can hide that one wherever you'd like. maybe further over in the dashboard. Who knows? I'm not going to show you exactly where I put mine, just going to give you some general ideas where you could put yours, because obviously every machine is going to be unique and nobody but you should know where that device is. I didn't even mention this when I opened the box. It came with very brief directions. It doesn't tell you anything about the relay, how to hook that up, but if you know electronics, basically you can do it. And I'll go over it too. It came with a little roll of this double-sided tape. That's how you mount it. It's just double-sided tape. It'll stay forever. It also came with an Easter egg. A literal Reese's Easter egg. Not sure what that's all about, but I like to live dangerously, so I'll eat it. Now it's on the floor. I'm still eating it though. With the dashboard out, we've got all kinds of space in here now. Oh, my relay mount broke. Aw. Someone's been doing a lot of aftermarket wiring. Sheesh. Hopefully no one's got to figure that out. It's kind of messy. Anyway, this decoy unit, I'm thinking that's going to go right where I said. It's almost like there's a little spot here for it already. It says the double-sided tape. I'm just going to get a coarse thread screw, stick it right there. The lights will be kind of facing towards the glove box, so you'll see it. And that'll be that. I'll just plug it into the bus bar right here. All these power connections. Just a quick pointer, if you didn't already know. This bar is called a pulse bar by Polaris, and that is where you connect all of your accessories, and it comes standard on the Pro XP. Others have variations of it, but this one is pretty cool. It's got 6 spots. You pull the pin, pull out the cap, and then you buy these little pigtails, and the pigtails have the power leads. So you have red, always on, 12-volt switch when the ignition is on, and black for ground, and you can just plug it in, off you go. Pretty cool idea by Polaris. Just keep in mind the yellow is low amperage, so you can't power stuff off of it. That's just to do backlights on your LED switches or your rockers, stuff like that. I just plug this in, and it does flash lights on it. So, cool. I'm gonna mount that right there. If someone opens it up, they'll see a little flashing lights. Ooh, they flash different. And hopefully that'll be enough to distract them. I'm still figuring out what I want to disable with the relay circuit. And I know I said earlier fuel pump, but let me show you the fuel pump. I forgot in this model it's outside. This is the plug for the fuel pump right there, which is right where obviously a lot of mud happens. So I don't want to put splices out there. I just don't feel good about it. I think I would have issues down the road if I put it down there. So I'm thinking now instead I'm going to go with an ignition cutoff, which will effectively do the same thing, but the ignition is right here, and one of these wires is a source voltage, so without source voltage it won't allow the machine to run. So I'm thinking I'm gonna just cut one of those. I'll tell you which one here in a minute, and that will shut it off if it's running and prevent it from doing anything if it was off when I disabled it. So that's the current thought. I'm going to pursue that path now and forget about the fuel pump. Not to mention fuel pump 2, now I've got to run more wires from up here all the way down, tie in, come all the way back, or put the relay down there. Now it's going to get wet. And it's not a waterproof style relay. These are pretty water resistant, but I'm going to keep it up top. And there it is, our decoy device all mounted. Found a couple of coarse thread screws, put them in there, and it is solid. Could have double-sided taped it, but when you find a hole like that, it's perfect. I mean, you got to do it, right? So let's turn our attention over to the security system here. There's our 2 remotes. It says do not attach power until you're ready to program it, so I'm going to skip that for now. It appears to be very simple. We've got some power wires, we've got an antenna wire, which it says to keep dry. Good luck on this thing. I could keep it kind of dry, but it's not going to be dry. And a little LED. And here's the security, all connected. Main unit, the power wire is a few feet long, and the antenna wire and LED are a few feet long, but really that's just not going to be enough wire, antenna to there, to get this up where I wanted it, where it would stay dry. So I think it's going to go inside the dash somewhere, preferably in the cleanest spot I can find. I don't know if I mentioned it, but these GPS units have battery backups in them, which is really cool. If they disconnect your battery or unplug it or whatever, it's still going to work. But I just discovered that the decoy unit also has a battery in it, because I am disconnected from power and it's still flashing. So that's cool. Didn't know that. Nice little perk. I have the alarm mounted. It's right here. Found a nice flat piece of metal that it can adhere to, and I've got the antenna installed. That's right here. The antenna kind of sticks up above the frame a little bit. Hopefully that'll be good enough reception. And it should say relatively dry in there. Relatively. It's been wet before, but most of the time I'm not that deep, so we should be okay. It's been a while, and that backup, or that decoy device, is still flashing. So we're looking good there. Next is to mount the little LED guy, which involves drilling a 8mm or 5/16 hole. There's the LED, and it's got this little holder that you pop in, so you can flush mount the thing. And you know how much I love drilling holes in my machine, but that's what you got to do if you want this system. I'm thinking it's gonna go right here. Kind of an obvious spot, and that itself should be a deterrent. Someone sees a little flashing light in it. So I'm gonna grab a drill bit and make that happen. I keep changing my mind. I was gonna put it right there, but I decided I don't want to drill into that because that's a big piece of trim. If anything were to go wrong, now I've got a hole in it. I don't like that. But this is a small piece of removable trim, so I could replace that if something were to change. And there's just enough room right in this cavity that I could fit that little LED right there. So I'm going to drill a hole right here, and if I take it out or something changes, I replace this one piece. Much better solution. There we go. Nice little light. Should be noticeable if it were flashing. We've come to the point of the show where it's time to splice some wires. The white wire is going to the yellow on the pulse bar. All the reds are going to red, and all the blacks are going to black. Easy. That leaves you just with the green, which will be for the relay. Hidden back here somewhere for later. If you don't have any of these solder joints, they are awesome and you should get them, because they make a nice permanent waterproof connection. Just apply heat so you see the solder ring in the middle start to melt. So your solder ring starts to melt. There it goes. And we'll go up on both ends. And it seals it all together. Now you have a permanent, waterproof splice. No wiring. Highly recommend them. I use them all the time for everything. So this is what the dashboard looks like before we connect it to power anything. It's got a random number, which I just renamed to Pro XP. You got serial number, product, and actions. It just has a cloud thing, and if you click on it, it says if it's uninstalled after going through the install procedures, press OK to send a message. So right now it is not installed. So we're gonna go back over to the machine, connect it to power, and then it should pop up on here. But when I connect everything to power, the first thing I'm gonna need to do is program those remotes because we have the security system. So I'm gonna do that first. So I'm ready to connect power out here. If you don't have the security system, then this really isn't gonna be a big deal. But I do, so we're gonna do it one time and get everything out at the same time. The first thing you wanna do is grab your remotes. This one doesn't have a little protector. You see it's on, it's ready to go. But this one does have the batteries disconnected, which are in here. Slide that down, and there's just a little piece of paper or something next to that AAA. That's cool that it takes a AAA battery though, because that'll be easily replaceable. Okay, and when it's done playing Popeye, that's weird, we should be ready to program. So the programming instructions are pretty simple. You press the lock button on the remote all within 10 seconds of connecting power. So I'm gonna connect power, hit lock on this one, it should chirp, hit lock on this one, it should chirp twice, and then stop for 10 seconds and we should be good. All right, here I am connecting power. First remote. Oh, jeez, that's a loud program. Second. Gosh darn, that's loud. And that is it for programming. I was just playing with the remotes on the security system. I cannot believe how loud that speaker is. It's so loud. Ready? I'm gonna lock it. Maybe. There it goes. That's a lock. Unlocked. All right, well, I've been playing with arm and disarm on that. I noticed that the lights have stopped blinking on that unit. So I'm gonna go inside and see if we can see anything. So I've installed it and it's not flashing, but I don't see it on here. So I'm gonna click this button and see if we can send a message to it. In approximately 2 to 5 minutes. All right, we'll wait 2 to 5 minutes and see if it pops in here.
A few moments later.
There it is. It popped on. So it's tracked it down. That's pretty cool. It is in the very back corner of that building right here. Looks like I got my battery, my volts on the machine, and then the device battery. That's neat. So it all filled in. It's ready to go. So this is the wiring diagram for the Pro XP. This is the fuel pump and sender. This is the 4-pin connection I showed you that's behind the rear firewall, just in front of the rear seat. Obviously red is power, black is ground. It's got 2 other wires coming from it for the sender, the sensor, fuel level, all that. So if you wanted to bypass it at the fuel pump, that would be this red wire down there. You can't use the ground wire because of the way the relay is set up. You need to have a positive source on that relay, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. But we're going to do it at the ignition switch, which is over here. We have several wires going to it. And this is the one I believe I'm going to disconnect. This is fused, so it's always on. And if I kill that wire, it should pretty much kill everything else on here. We could test it. But rather than worry about doing an output, key on position or accessory or anything, we'll just kill the whole thing going straight to it and be done. So that's going to be pin 2. That's a red wire with a white stripe. That's what we're looking for. It should be easy to recognize because pin 1 appears to be open. So it'll be the next pin. Red with white, let's go find it. So this ignition wire is pretty much exactly what we expected from the diagram. We've got one with no wire going to it, second pin in, red with a white stripe. So that is the wire we're going to pull out here. I'm going to snip it. We're going to run it through our little relay and then back to the switch. That way if I select that SID option on our dashboard, this little relay will not allow it to be started. I mentioned before we have to do positive, not negative, and that's just because of the way this relay is wired up. If you know relays, you know you can do it differently if you'd rather grab a negative. We're going to have to send power through the blue wire because the blue wire is sending power to this pin, which we need in order to connect our coil circuit. And then the red wire is going to be our output back to the switch. So incoming voltage on blue and outgoing on the red. And obviously green goes to our GPS unit. Ignition wire I'll tape back up, plug back in, and the relay, which I'm going to mount on this screw right here most likely, hold it up out of the way. So the only thing left is the green wire. The green wire goes to our GPS unit green wire. So I'm just going to splice those together real quick. Not with that one, with another one, because I just dropped that into the abyss. Alright, we're going to see what this does. I have it here. I have the wires all hooked up. So if I press this button, the key disable one, the ignition and everything should shut off. I wonder if there's a delay. I don't know for sure. I'm going to click it. Oh, and there it is. I cannot start the vehicle. Cool. I'm going to put it back and run, and I'm going to say enable. And there it goes. Oh, this is cool. So I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to have the machine running. Okay, so obviously the machine is running. I'm going to say to disable it. Here we go, disable. Oh, that is awesome. Check that out. It's like you just shut it off while you're driving. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Well, that works. I'm going to get to cleaning up a little bit here. Let's put this back together. Well, I made a miscalculation. See, I put that button right there, that light, because it would fit in a cavity that's covered up by this now. So I'm going to drill the hole from here through here too, and that way the light will fit through both. Not exactly how I wanted to do it, but I'm committed now. Got to do it that way. I'm going to drill the one in the back a little bit bigger though, so that it'll slide right through, no problem. There we go. That worked. Exactly what I said. I just drilled a little bigger hole behind it. Send it on through. Snaps right in, piece of cake. And it's done, all back together. Now I can find its position most anywhere in the US. Maybe more, I don't know how these things work. That is really cool, and to be able to shut it down. Awesome. All right, well that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like I earned it, give me a thumbs up. And as long as you're here, consider subscribing. We got a whole bunch of videos on this machine, some of the other machines. You'll want to check those out. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you next time on 3-Day Weekend. Oh, busted. Yeah, I'm eating the egg that came with it. Tastes okay. No razor blades. I think we're good. The candy that comes with it has been Chris approved.